Hi everyone, today we're talking about the PPP loan forgiveness application, specifically related to sole proprietors and Schedule C filers who have no employees. I just wanted to strip it down for you guys because this is a big application, and I'll put the link below to the application for forgiveness. It will be in the description, and you probably looked at it if you were asking for this video, because a lot of people are saying, hey, this is really complicated. What do I do for my situation? Because this seems to be overkill. Why aren't they doing just a simplified version? So, I think the idea is that they put out one application. It does apply to everybody. You can use this application as a sole proprietor and as a Schedule C filer, even if you don't have to do the FTE calculations and the salary and wage reductions and all of that. So this is for everybody. I'm going to go through it. Really, the cool thing is that you're not going to have to look at all of these papers. They really don't matter to you all that much. So what we're going to be looking at mostly is page 3 through 6. Those are going to be the most relevant for you. You might want to just look through the whole application, make sure there's nothing that's been missed, make sure that you know what is there. But overall, we can focus on just the pages that matter to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started, and we're going to look at the actual application and just go line by line and talk through it. All right, so let's head on over. All right, so here's the loan forgiveness application. You can find this directly on the SBA's website, also on the U.S. Treasury website, and we're just going to talk through it. So, the beginning part is really just giving you some definitions. So if there's anything that you're unclear about in the first part of the application, this is specifically listed. One thing I noticed is that we have two different loan numbers. We have the SBA PPP loan number and the lender PPP loan number. So if you remember, you applied at a bank, so that would be the lender. So it was Chase Bank, Bank of America, PayPal, Fundera, something like that. And then those were, once they processed the documentation, then it got shipped off to the SBA for final approval. So the documentation that I've been seeing is mostly from the I've easily found the SBA loan number. The lender loan number was a little bit harder for me to find. So go ahead. Now is a really good time to just go ahead and try to find those two numbers in your loan documentation and reach out to your bank if for some reason you can't find them, because it'll make it a lot easier right now because they're not being flooded with forgiveness applications. So go ahead and get those while you can. All right, so we're going to actually just go ahead and skip all the way down to the pages that are relevant to us. So we're really going to be focused, again, this is for sole proprietors with no employees, or if you call yourself an independent contractor, no employees, this video is for you, and we're going to talk about what you need to look at specifically on this application. Let's see here. So here is the kind of top level of the application. So if you look through the whole thing, you'll see that there's worksheets and there's supporting documentation that kind of rolls up onto these top sheets. So the good thing is not having employees, you don't have to do those like really nitty gritty worksheets. So we'll cover those in another video. So let's just talk through this. Obviously, I don't need to talk through like the basic information of your business. You know that stuff. Loan number we just touched on here. You will type in your loan amount, the amount you received, and remember that the disbursement date is the date that the money actually hit your bank account, okay? Now, if they gave you a check for some reason, that would also be a disbursement date, all right? And then this should be 0, 0. You don't count yourself as a sole proprietor as an employee. Okay, so these will be 0 for you. Employees at the time of loan application, employees at the time of forgiveness application. And then if you did receive an EIDL advance, you will put that number in here. It shouldn't be more than $1,000, but if for some reason it is, just put whatever you received. Do not put your EIDL loan if you got the loan. This is only for the advance portion. Remember, you applied and you checked a little box, and then they gave you up to $10,000. Most of you, the max you would have gotten is $1,000 because you don't have any employees. So put that in here if that's a thing. And then if you did do that, also your EIDL application number. All right. And again, payroll schedule, it doesn't apply to you. It doesn't apply to you because you don't have payroll. So you can just click other and put NA. And then you're going to type in your covered period. And remember, your covered period is 56 days from the date of disbursement. So you're literally going to put this as the first date here, and then you're going to count 56 days and you'll get your last date. There is no point of you choosing an alternative payroll covered period in this situation. So if you watched my initial reaction video and you thought, hey, maybe I should choose a different period, it doesn't matter for you because you're a sole proprietor and you're not trying to get payroll cycles into a certain time period. So don't even worry about that. It doesn't make sense. Just use your covered period here. All right. Let's see. So then we get into the actual amounts. Okay. So we're going to put this on pause because we're going to look at this Schedule A, line 10, because that will be the supporting document to support this number. And then business mortgage interest payments, lease payments, rent payments, utilities, all that will be added in here. And then line 5 here, you can disregard because this is about salaries and wages reductions, but you will add, I don't know why they did it this way, but well, I kind of do. You will add here in line 6 or all 4 of these cells. And then modified total will be line 6 because you also won't have this FTE reduction quotient. So line 5 and line 7, you don't have to worry about at all. This does not apply, does not apply. This is a total. All right, so then we will basically take this modified total here will be line 6 will get moved down to here. And this is saying, okay, this is everything you've actually spent during the covered period. And then you put your loan amount, remember up here, the money that you actually got from your PPP loan. And then they're going to give you this third option of these are the potential forgiveness amounts. So they're saying, go ahead and put in all of these payroll costs, go ahead and put in your loan amount, and then go ahead and so what they're having you do is they're having you take line 1 and divide it by 75%. So it's kind of giving you an option to sort of resize your loan. So this would be in a situation that maybe you had very little payroll costs, but you had a lot of rent and mortgage payments. It's going to make line 8 look really big. However, they're saying, remember, you need to, of the money you do spend, 75% of it needs to be on payroll costs. So they're not going to let you take, 2 or 3 times what you should have on rent and other expenses when you really should have been spending the money on payroll. So this line item here kind of adjusts for that. So if you spent, say, I don't know, $6,000 on payroll, and you should have spent like $16,000 or something like that, then this would basically resize your loan to $8,000. Because if you take 6,000 divided by 0.75, you would get 8,000. So this is kind of interesting because now what they do is they say, take the lesser of these 3 numbers. So you can't take more than your PPP loan, and you can't take more than what you actually spent. But if you didn't spend it on the right things and you spent more money on rent and lease and whatever, then you have to take this reduction and you take this line 10. Okay, so basically you do these calculations and then you just say which one is the least. Okay, so that is your forgiveness amount right there. And then you have to do the certifications. So you do need to read through these. Make sure you're comfortable with this because really this should be the first thing you do. Read all of these certifications. If you're not comfortable certifying all of this, then you don't even apply for forgiveness. Okay. Now these are things that you would have certified already. And now you're just going back and essentially kind of recertifying this piece. But it's good to read through that in detail. Okay. All right. So now we're just going to go to the supporting document for payroll costs, because this is a question that a lot of you have had. How do I calculate that payroll cost? And it doesn't seem like the application is very clear about it. What is it based off of? So we're going to look at that. Schedule A, line 10. We're going to go to Schedule A. This is the instructions. Page 6 is the Schedule A. And a lot of this is going to be used for companies that have employees. So we can actually skip all the way down to line 9. This is what you need to worry about. Line 9. All right, so we're going to look at the guidance for line 9, and it says, enter any amounts paid to owners. This amount is capped at $15,385, which is essentially 8 weeks of $100,000 compensation annually. Then they're saying, in order to calculate this and why you calculate it and how you calculate it, refer to Interim Rule that was posted on April 14th, 2020. Now, you can go back and look at the video that I did on self-employment, the self-employed, forgiveness for the self-employed. But we basically go through this and we look at the Interim Rule. And I talk about that. And it's basically you take your Schedule C from 2019 and then your net income, which is line 31, you divide that by 52, and then you multiply it times 8. And that is your total possible owner's compensation, unless it's over $15,385, and then you have to cap it at $15,385. okay? Because we can't pay you more than $100,000 in the year, because the intention of the PPP is to make sure that people who are making less than $100,000 a year are still being taken care of, okay? They're not really too worried about the people who are making $300,000, $400,000, $600,000 a year, okay? They're saying we will give you up to this much. All right, so this should be a really easy calculation. And honestly, if you have my spreadsheet from before and you've been doing that correctly, you should already have this number. It should just be Schedule C, line 31, divided by 52, multiply it times 8. And then that is your weekly, that'll be 8 weeks of payroll for you, okay? Pay for you. I shouldn't even say payroll because then that gets confusing for employees, okay? So you take that line 9 calculation and you just put it in here. And then you just put that same number right here in line 10. And then this is the number that you use up on page 3 here, okay? So that should be pretty straightforward, actually. And that's it. Because once you have this number, then you add all these together. You put it on line 6. You put line 6 down here on line 8. And then you put line 9 up here, whatever your PPP loan amount was. You do a quick calculation of line 1. Now that we have line 1, you divide it by 75. And then you just say which of these is the least. And then you put that in the forgiveness amount right there. And you're done. Kind of. You're done from the worksheet perspective. And now you have to go, okay, do I have documentation for all these expenses that I just said that I had? And for a Schedule C filer, this gets kind of easy because payroll costs, all you have to do is show your Schedule C. And then if you have any of these other expenses, what you're going to need to do is go and rewatch my documentation video, because I specifically talk about what type of things you need to hold on to, like bills, receipt of payment, and bank statements. So that will be helpful for you. And, just go ahead and start keeping those in either a physical folder or a digital folder so that you can hold on to those when it's time to actually submit for forgiveness. You have basically a piece of evidence for every single item that you have claimed. All right, you guys. Well, I hope that was helpful just to go through the application and actually look at what matters to you. If that was helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. And if it wasn't, please let me know why below, because we'll be doing some more videos. We will go and do one specifically related to what you need to do if you have employees. We'll go through the FTE calculations and we'll go through the salary reductions as well. Those will be in upcoming videos, and watch for those in the next couple weeks. But yeah, give me your feedback on this one, and hopefully this will help you maximize your forgiveness of your PPP loan. All right, thanks guys. Bye.